Welcome to Paza Sauti radio podcast. This is the radio for urban refugee women by urban refugees. We discuss the issues that affect us, the good, bad, and the ugly. My name is Nyalam, and being a refugee, I am a mother of 2 kids. I am 23-year-old and a former student and still looking for chances of finishing studies. Today, I will be co-hosting this show with my best friend, my partner in crime, and my husband. Please, my dear, introduce yourself.
And I am Banak, a refugee from South Sudan, and also a paralegal from the Refugees Justice Center, Youth Voices community. As a refugee, I've experienced a lot of problem in terms of accessing a lot of vital services, including education itself. When accessing tertiary education, for me as a refugee, that has been my biggest hurdle. And up to date, I have not been able to go through the tertiary education because I do not have the proper documentation that can allow me access such services. Thank you.
So, Banak, as a refugee from South Sudan, what are some of the highlights and lowlights of being an urban refugee?
First and foremost, the highlight that I can say as of now, as a refugee, we currently enjoy the rights to integration, of which has not been realized, but it is supposed to be realized. And that is something I can say is a highlight. And I can also say that another highlight is the effort by the government of Kenya toward achieving possible integration and possible economic inclusion for refugees through this integration. The low light that I can highlight as of now is that as a refugee, I find it most of the time that the type of documentation that I have are a scam because they do not allow me access any kind of service whatsoever. I cannot open any M-Pesa. I cannot buy a Safaricom line. I cannot open a bank account unless directed by UNHCR or different education partners using different banks that they have partnered with. And that is the biggest, and those are the biggest lowlights that I can say are there as of now.
Well said. My highlights of being a refugee are I enjoy the rights that refugees enjoy, like getting chances of free education. And my lowlights are getting a job. It's hard without the ID, and people taking advantage of that, of not having an ID, and you are really in need of a job. Moving on swiftly, today we want to discuss about identity and integration. We would like to think and talk about how refugees manage without IDs and how this affects their lives. How does this affect their ability to integrate with their communities, and how does it stop them from getting ahead in life? And of course, at the tail end of our show, we have invited a guest who is also a friend to help us shed light on this issue. Let us take a quick break and listen to our radio play. Wacha nikupaze nani.
Karibu to this week's Wacha Nikupaze, stories of urban refugee women. Tega sikio, listen and learn. Jerry, kuja hapa haraka. Nimekwambia mara ngapi uache kucheza nao ma refugees? Sorry mama.
Excuse me, who are you calling a refugee? Who are you calling refugee? And so what if we are refugee? Tell me.
Wewe Msudanese, usinilete wazimu. I have called you a refugee. Utadu?
What is wrong with being a refugee? What?
Wewe Msudanese usijaribu kugusa Mkenya, tutakupiga.
What's wrong with you people?
We will beat you up.
Takupiga wewe.
Rudi huko Sudan.
Unajua nini Kenya hii?
Wewe, ni nini inaendelea hapa? This is Kenya police.
It is this woman. She's the one who started the fight.
Wewe ni wazimu. It is this refugee.
Ni nani refugee? Who is a refugee?
Ni hawa marefugee wa Sudan wanakuja huku kuleta fujo zao za Sudan. Kwenda.
Nyinyi refugees kuja hapa. What is the problem?
We have no problem. It is this Mama Njeri. She called my child a refugee.
And what is wrong with that? Is your daughter not a refugee?
And how is that okay, Mr. Policeman? How is that okay? So what if we are refugees?
Wewe, I am not Mr. Policeman. I am officer or afandi. Masikia? Mr. Policeman ni wewe na hiyo sura yako nyeusi. And I can see you and your wife have the problem in this plot. Let's go to the station.
Yes, wapeleke station. Warudishe huko Sudan.
I have children. What happens to my children?
I don't care. Carry them to the station. You should have thought of them before you started the fighting. Let's go to the station, haraka.
Msirudi hapa. Rudini huko Sudan kwenu.
Mzee kutoka Sudan. Now. Give me your ID. And for your madam, plus the totos.
Here is my ID. My wife and children are covered under me.
Nini? Eh? What is this? Eh? Alien card is what?
We are refugees from Sudan, sir. That is our identification from UNHCR.
Where this is rubbish. Eh? Now where is your wife and children?
They are registered under me. You can even check with UNHCR.
You people are joking. This is nonsense.
You threw away my alien ID into the sewerage.
You have thrown our ID away. Why?
Yes, I have thrown it away. That is rubbish. I want your ID right now, or I take you two to the station. Eh? You have no ID. You are illegally living here.
Take us! Take us to the police. I'm telling you, you take us to the police. Take us now.
No, please. I have children.
No. Let him take us. Let him take us to the police. He threw away my ID into the storage. Let him take us to the police now.
What can we do for you to forgive us? Please, we have children. I can't go to jail with you.
Let him take us. Let him take us to the police. Now, let's go.
Sasa, mzee wa Sudan. Why do you want to go to jail? Mama, let us talk here. Eh? I can see you have brains. Eh? Unlike your husband. 10,000 and we sort everything out.
10,000 for what? Huh? 10,000 for what?
I have 5.
Make it 7.
I have it on my phone. Where do I send it?
Send it here with this agent number. Mzee, you are very lucky you have a wise wife. Eh? Wewe ni kichwa ngumu sana.
You should have taken us, Bana. UNHCR would come and get us out.
Very good, Mama. My people have confirmed receipts. Have a lovely day and stop fighting.
I hate this place. I wish I could go back home. These people think we like to be refugees. They don't know anyone can be a refugee.
Now I need to go and get another alien card. That will take us years. Huh? I wish we could go back home. I just hate being a refugee.
Hello, I want to remove cash from M-Pesa.
How much?
3,000.
Toa.
Okay, nimetoa.
Leta ID, mama.
Sina ID.
Then I can't help you.
Please, I beg you. I need this money urgently. I need to take my son to hospital. He has a temperature.
Wewe mama, wacha kizungu mingi. Leta ID. I can't pay without an original Kenyan ID. Na kwanza, from you sound like a refugee. How come your name Jane Wanjiku Nderu? And you're a Sudanese?
I am not a Sudanese. I am a Kalenjin from Eldoret.
Really? We mama. From Eldoret na unaitwa Jane Wanjiku Nderu? Umekuja kunipima wazimu, si ndio? Umetumwa na nani? Wacha nirudishe pesa yako na itakuwa less na ya kutuma.
Now what is this? I hate being a refugee.
Mtoto ako na shida gani?
He has a temperature. I gave him Calpol the whole day, but he's not responding.
Your name?
Adhiu Majok.
What?
Adhiu Majok.
What? Where are you from? Where is your ID?
I don't have an ID.
What? Why? Now, do we help you?
Please, I need your help. My baby is burning up, and I have no money to go to a private hospital.
Guy, now, Sasa, what do we do here? Ebu wait a bit, I consult. Hold on, kidogo.
Table Medina Piet, table Medina Piet, Kalaf Canela John. Malame Guaji Kankir, table Medina Piet, table Medina Piet, Kalaf Canela John. Malame Guaji Kankir.
Excuse me. What is your name?
Adhiu Majok.
From Sudan?
Yes, my baby is really burning up. I need help urgently. Please.
We can only give emergency care, but we cannot be able to do as much as you are not a Kenyan and you have no ID. Once we stabilize the baby, we will recommend hospitals that help refugees. Sawa? We don't do that here. Is that okay? Do you have an ID at all?
No, I've been using my husband's, but it got lost.
Now, refugees, this is wako wengi. Wako kila mahali na venye wako na mashida mingi. Hey!
Where? I hope you have money. You people have a lot of money from your relatives living abroad and NGOs helping you kila mahali. So, you will pay the doctor 1,000 to see him unofficially. Sawa? Then we see about the medicine. Sawa? Plus, of course, something small for the two of us for being so helpful. Is that okay?
Just help my child. It is okay. I hate this. I hate being a refugee.
Hey, how are you? And how is he?
Much better.
How much did it cost today?
To unofficially see the doctor, 1,000. Medicines, 1,000. The two most helpful nurses in the world, each 500. The money you left me is finished. What happened to your businesses? Why are your machines here?
Okello threw me out from our business today. He claimed I stole his client.
What? Why?
But you invested together. You have worked so hard to grow that business. Why?
Remember, the name of the business registration is his. He said he wants to work with his fellow Kenyans. And I think his brother or cousin, he said they will be better suited and he will not steal his client.
What about the money you invested?
He said he will try to pay me back. He will try when he can. How do I prove I invested with him? The business is in his name. The money I invested was paid using a fake Kenyan name by M-Pesa line that I own. He knows I can do nothing to him.
What is this? Why? Why? Why are these people so cruel? This system is designed to frustrate us. I am tired. I am tired of being a refugee.
My dear, one day we will have the ID that opens doors to education, hospital, M-Pesa, bank accounts, and everything else that IDs offers in this country.
We are back and we are back. Karibu Adhiu Achwel from South Sudan. Please tell us more about yourself.
Okay, so I go by the name Adhiu Achwel Diu. I'm a refugee from South Sudan, live in Nairobi, Kenya. I was born in Kakuma refugee and then moved to Dadaab and now in Nairobi for education. I work for refugees. I have an NGO, it's called Monicado, social enterprise, and I'm also the Tertiary Refugee Student Network leader for East Africa.
So, what did you think of that radio play? Do you think it captures some of the issues we struggle with the ID?
Yeah, so with the radio play, I just felt like it has captured almost everything that all the struggle that refugees go through in this Kenya over us.
Yeah, I think it does too. I think it does capture everything. I would agree with you. But moving forward, I would like to ask one question. Many urban refugees are struggling to get identification in Kenya. As someone who works closely with UNHCR, what are the issues that affect the access to identification of refugees? And why does it take so long? What causes the delay? And are they warranted?
So, personally, being somebody who have worked with UNHCR, I think that refugee ID card are not being issued by the UNHCR. They are being issued by the DRS. That is the Department of Refugees Affairs in Kenya. So the reason why it takes long is that sometimes it may not take that much. It may take 3 months. And sometimes it may be more than 3 months. And some of the reasons, it may be sometime when so many refugees are applying, so there's no way they can process like thousands or hundreds of ID card once. So it had to go under process and also the vetting and all this stuff. So it has to go through the process. And that's why it's taking like 3 months for this to be issued. And then the other question is, what issues that affect the access to identification of refugees? So I think some of the issues that affect access is that people are so much prompt into getting things the way they want. Or let me put it in this word, shortcut. People are so much prompt into shortcut. They don't know the right way to get the refugees ID. For instance, somebody from Kakuma will not want to go to Kakuma because they stays in Nairobi. Say they will go to Eldoret and pick up a ID card from there, to which their system or their names are not in the system of Eldoret, but they will try to force their way and try to forge in so that they can get the ID card. To which at the end of the day, when they get that ID card, they will always have issues with the registration. Even when you are trying to go for the KRA PIN, it may not show in the Kenyan system. It will say there's an error, to which it may be the name or the birth. It's not matching with what is in the system already. Because as much as you are a refugee, you are here legally. Kenyan system knows you when you are in Kenya, as long as you are mandated as a refugee. So this is one thing that is affecting everyone. And then the other question you ask is, what caused the delay and are they warranted? As I've said, everything is being done by government. Like, for instance, recently, the Kenyan government have a new president. So with the new president, there must be a delay because the president is coming into the office and they have to arrange themselves before they issue. And that's why even with the Kenyan, they're having issues with birth certificate for now. They don't have the papers to be printed for the birth certificate. So they're still waiting. I think this one has affected almost everybody, not only the Kenyans, but also the refugees as well. So this is what it's delaying the government process or the procurement of the government to make sure that IDs are being issued and also some other services like birth certificate and death certificate as well.
Thank you. Thank you for the clarity. And maybe the host will ask the next question.
All right. We really appreciate your conveniences. The second question, without identification in foreign country, what troubles or dangers is an urban refugee, especially a refugee woman, exposed to?
Okay. So as far as I'm concerned, being a refugee and you are over 18 years, then there's nothing that can prevent you from going for the identity card. It's free and it's accessible in all camps and also in urban centers. So I think one of the disadvantages of not having the ID card or the refugee identity is that most of the time they cannot be able to access some services, not all services, but some services. Like for instance, about the registration of SIM card. You cannot register your SIM card without an ID. You can also not have some of the thing, like for medication, I've never experienced that, but I feel like it's not that much needed for you to have an ID so that you can access medication or even police services that are being, the services are being offered by the police. So most of the time it's also harassment, because when you're like moving around Nairobi and you are a woman and you find a policeman, they will start asking you for questions. Where is your ID? And if you don't have it, it should be an issue. Even ID itself is not enough for you to move around this Nairobi town. You need also a supporting document like there's something we call asylum seeker. Asylum seeker is for those one who are not yet registered or recognized as the refugee. They're supposed to have their own document. ID card is for those one who are recognized as the refugees in Kenyan system. Yeah. So these are the documents that you're supposed to have, and also mandate as well. Sometimes they will want you to have a refugee ID, but again, because of so many corruption and that Kenya is fighting, you may find that they want to have to see your mandate in your hands, because maybe you just made this up. People can make IDs anywhere. So they will assume you made this ID. It's a fake, it's not original. So they will want you to have your ID, alien card, and manifest or proof of registration.
Now to the third one, then we go for break. One of the biggest so-called answers to this crisis is to ask, or rather force refugees to live in designated camp, or the camp where they are provided for. Why do many refugees dread living in camps? Or why is it that they don't want to live in camps?
Okay. So this question, it's a bit wide, but it's deeper. So my answer to that is that nobody is being forced to live in the camp. It's supposed to be out of goodwill. Everybody have an access to stay where they want to stay. But these camps were made for refugees, not only for host community. The reason why they were put aside is that they can enjoy their freedom, or also the provision of all the services they're getting separately from the Kenyan or from the host community. And the other thing is, why do many refugees fear living in the camp? Personally, I've been living in the camp. I was born in a refugee camp that is in Kakuma, and I moved from Kakuma to Dadaab. I never felt that fear living in the camp. I never felt like I'm insecure in the camp. I felt camp is a bit secure for me, because if you look at the services that are being offered in the camp are not with the urban refugees, because there's free shelter, food, and all the medication that you need. Like almost everything, all the opportunities that come for refugees, they go to the camp, not in the urban sector or urban setup. So I don't think there's a reason why people should be fearing to go to the camp or stay in the camp, being lived there for almost my entire life.
Now those are deep answers, but before we proceed, let's take a quick break and listen to some experiences from some of our girls here at Paza Sauti about the issues of identity and integration.
Okay, for me, I have a mandate, and it affects me because let's say I want to apply for a job. It says Kenyan ID, like a Kenyan citizen, which means you have to apply using an ID, which I don't have. So most of the jobs, I'm not qualified because I don't have an ID. And another thing is maybe like when you're in town or these big places walking around, then the police asks you for an ID and you can't produce it. You can be taken to the station to go and explain why you don't have an ID. Yeah.
As for me, I can say, there is nothing that affects me in terms of ID, because I have the Kenyan ID. I can move freely. I can do anything freely.
As for me, I don't have a Kenyan ID, a refugee ID. I'm just there, but my parents have got me in their identity cards. Kuna jina zangu hapo, so mimi na miaka yangu, and hapa penye nimefika sahi sina anything, and it is hurtful kwa sababu sometimes I want to apply for a job, sina identity card, sina alien, sina mandate, I have nothing. So it's so painful and hurting of not being recognized by anyone in the system. So it's very tough for me. Na mtu mwenye ana ID, aside from being kupelekwa mbio na makarao, kukosa job, bado si poa kwa sababu unaweza kuwa una ID, unataka kutravel somewhere far na uwezi toka huku kama una identity card, na bado ni mbaya kabisa kukosa kabisa ile kitu yenye unaweza sema sasa hata nikashikwa nikaona kitu fulani kwa mfuko. So for me it's tough. Yes.
Yeah, for me nitasema kwa side ya simu, like kukuwa na SIM card line. Pia ID na affectingi, like for me nimeka for many months now. Juzi tu ndio nimepata line nyingine. Juu unapeleka hii ati sijui refugee ID ama anything, wanakuambia iko registered. After few months unapigiwa, your SIM card is not updated. Please go to customer care. Things like that. So inafungwa. You can't access a simple thing as M-Pesa because you don't have ID. So saa zingine inafanya sisi pia tukue kwa shida. You have to approach someone, rafiki yako Mkenya, kupatia ID yake. Vitu zenye, like ukifikiria in a big way, zinaweza ku-affect. But again, you have to risk it because lazima ukue na way of communicating. Yeah, so hiyo ndio nitasema kwa ID.
As for me, I don't have an idea. I'm just registered with my family. I'm still trying to look for an ID or a mandate or something. Not having an ID, it's like a barrier in a refugee's life, because first thing when you come here, as she has said, you want to have that M-Pesa, you can't have it. You have to find a friend's ID so that you use it. And obviously you don't want people to assume you're Sharon or Teach. You don't want people to start calling you a name which is not yours. Then you have to also take on that girl's or that person's identity, because now you also don't want people to think that's not you and then they call you like a thief. And also for people like for us who I know we all want to continue our education and everything, you can't apply for some scholarships for school. It's literally, if they don't see your ID, they'll just say, no, you can't do this, you can't do that. And it's not because you lack the capability to learn, it's just because you lack that paper, which is a basic need. And you find that now also in jobs, as much as in the last year's Act of Refugees, they say that we're now allowed to work, we are given that freedom. It didn't really make much change, because you can't go to the bank and have a bank account. They will want to say your KRA PIN, and then when you want the KRA PIN, they want to see your alien card, and then it's like a long process where you have to go to the immigration office, where there's so many such thing as basic as a bank account, which is your own money. You're not even asking them for money. It takes such a long process and such things that you can't provide. And then so there are many things that an ID stops you from doing. And now you see something like a job description. It's saying you should be legally allowed to live and work in Kenya. How, like, as a refugee, obviously we are here. I can't say we're here illegally, but we are not really here by being fully present, because we are not totally allowed. We are not given that freedom. Yes, I live in Kenya, but I can't work in Kenya because I lack those papers, and you don't have that money to pay for a work permit. Obviously, I'm looking for a job because I lack money, not because I have the money. So such things, I feel like a refugee ID or just an identification, it plays such a big role in people's lives. It's such a basic need that, yeah, it just needs to change. There's so much work to be done in refugees in just making refugees comfortable and giving them those opportunities they all deserve. Because I feel like refugee community, we're a community that we are very capable of doing so many, and so we so many of these girls, boys, or men and women, they have such a lot of talent, but lacking something as small as an ID, it makes you even hold yourself back, because you don't want to stand out, you don't want to meet a kanjo, you don't want to go to that police station for days and sleep there and just be mistreated. So you find that you yourself, even you have to adjust. You're no longer just a human being. You have to adjust and become that refugee human being. So you limit yourself. You're not that loud for with bubbly personalities. You try to hide yourself, and I don't feel like living a limited life is what anyone deserves. Yeah.
Mimi kama mimi sina ID ya refugee kwa sababu niko under my mom. Na pia kuishi kama refugee ni hard, kwanza kwa mapolisi. Kanjo, hatuwezi fanya kazi. Polisi akikushika, kitu ya kwanza atakwambia ID. Ukimwambia una ID weni, refugee, kwa wapi karatasi yako? Nikimwambia sina document, usiongeleshe huyu, beba huyu ni Al-Shabaab. Inabaki tutabishana. Nitakuwa mrude, and then watanipeleka cell. Yeah. Na ukiwa pia kwa cell, si kitu mzuri. Kama mimi najaribu kuwasaidia watu wangu, but still ni kama panya yenye nangojea paka na panya. Ukiona polisi unakimbia, watu wasinishike. Juu ni challenge. Bila documents yoyote Kenya hii hauwezi kaa. Sisi peke yetu tunaharasiwa, hata Wakenya wanaharasiwa. Hata kama uko na documents yenye nakaaje, still mapolisi ni mapolisi, makanjo ni makanjo, wanafanya kazi yao na lazima wapate kitu ya kukula. So kama mimi nitaweka viatu chini, nikitandika, nikitaka kuuza, nitaka nikiangalia, haya kanjo, mimi ndio kanjo, nitajaribu kubeba zile vitu yenye niko nayo nikimbie. Na ukikimbia ndo wale wako mbele, tutashikwa. So pia ni challenge kukosa mandate. Tukikosa mandate pia hauna document yote, itabaki zile pesa yote yenye umefanyia utawapea. Kwa sababu utaki, umeshikwa Friday, utalala cell Saturday, Sunday, Monday upelekwa kotini. Na hiyo kotini ukipelekwa without document, wewe unaambiwa wewe ni Al-Shabaab. Jua hauna kitu yoyote, hauna document, hauna nini, unafanya nini Kenya? Unafanya biashara, hiyo pesa umetoa wapi? Unaona? Pia watu wanatudescribe vibaya, as in ukikuja Kenya na uko different nao, ni mkimbizi. Kwa kuna kitu. Unaona hata hakuna kitu, wamekuja tu hapa wanatusumbua. Unaona? Kuna vitu yenye tunaweza nunua, tukienda kwa duka hata kununua, ile bei yenye wewe utaambiwa na Mkenya akiambiwa ni different. Na ukijaribu kujitetea unaambiwa wewe unaongea nini na uko kwetu. Unaona? Kama sahii wamechagua president, watu wengi walikuwa wanasema nini? Tunataka kwanza hao marefugee watoke kwa country yetu. Wamefanya vitu zipande bei. Sisi tumefanya. Pia sisi kama si refugee kuna wenye wanaumia. But watu wanatubebanga vibaya, wanadhani si kila refugee kuna pesa na kama maisha mzuri. Kuna marefugee wengi wanaumia. Tuko wengi sana tunaumia kwa sababu hatuna documents. Unaweza pata mtu ana document anajaribu kujitafutia. Niko na watoto, nataka kuwachukulia birth certificate. Siwezi chukua kwa sababu sina documents. Ile yenye nitaenda nijaze birth certificate. Watoto wangu wako shule, naitishwa birth certificate. Siwezi peleka. Yes, wanasoma lakini hawayuko kwa system. Wanasoma tu na lipa tu. Unaona? Pia kuna challenge. Kila time askari akijua hauna documents yoyote, atakotoki kwa anakunyemelea. Ngoja kuna mwingine hapo, si anauzanga viatu huyo leo yeye ndo atatupatia lunch. Na kama si 2,000 3,000, hiyo ni pesa yangu ya stock imeenda hivyo. Kama jana niliuza maviatu sawa. But ilifika mali nikifurahia nikirudi, nilipatana na askari mwenye amenizoea. Hiyo nishika almost every day, kinaona najua niko sina document na niko na pesa. Jana nilikasirika nikamuolea, hadi nilibeba mawe kwa sababu amenikasirisha. Na mwambie niko na 3,000, haya nataka kupeleka school fees. Wewe uko hapo unaniambia nikupe 1,000 kwa nini? Kwa sababu wewe ni mkimbizi na una documents. Yaani ilibaki tunabishana. Unaona? So alibaki akaniletea askari madam ndo tubishane kwa sababu nimwambia I have my rights and I know my rights. You cannot beat me. You are a man and I'm a woman. Na tuwezi bishana. Akaniambia, so you want a woman like you? I will brief for you. We have even a woman. Sawa. Na huyu mwanamke akikuja alinitusi matusi zingine, alinitadi prostitute. Nikamuuliza kwani mimi nishakuzia ama usheniona? Unaona? So hata matusi, hata jela. Yes, nimelala jela mara mingi sana. Hiyo jela hata ukilala hakuna kitu yenye iko. Choo iko hapo, unaweza gonjeka. Niko na watoto, sijui venye watoto wangu watakula. Unaona? Hata kama UN, tunajua UN iko hapo, but UN haiko fair. UN pia inatuumiza. Sisi refugee, ukiongelea refugee wengi sana tunaumia kwa sababu documents inamata. Na UN once imekupatia documents, afadhali watuitange meeting watuambie life Nairobi inawapeleka aje, au watuambie kitu hao wanatufanyia kitu yenye kubwa wanatufanyia ni kutufavor watupatie documents. Na kuna wenye wamepata reject. Hizo reject, sawa, uko na reject. Alafu ukienda UN ukiwauliza watakwambia, unajua kwa sababu uko reject, wewe utaenda home. Utaendaje kwenyu? Kila mtu mwenye ametoka hapa amekuwa mkimbizi kwa sababu huko kwao haiko sawa. Kuna vita, utarudiaje urudi? Ni kama unajiingiza kwa kichinjio. Tutakupatia amount, do kuna pesa yenye tutakupatia, hiyo ndio utaenda nayo home. Na ukiwaambia tutaendaje home? Kuna vita. Enda camp. Camp hakuna kitu yenye mtu anasaidika nayo. Camp kuna maugonjwa. Hakuna education. Education yenyewe ya camp iko very low. At least hata Kenya, mimi kama ningekuwa na documents, naweza fungua biashara yangu mahali popote. City Council ikikuja naonyesha. Naweza chukua hata license na nifanye, nikose kuwalipa juu najua niko na license nalipia. But kama sina document nitafanyaje? Inakanika tunabishana nao watu mpaka inakuwa mimi ni mrude. Saa zingine wakinishika wanaweza sema wamenipata na drugs. So hata kitu sheria saa hii nikisema nilikuwa nawapigia wanakuja wananitoa kwa jela, but sasa nikiwapigia hawezi kuja kwa sababu maskari Kenya wamesema ni ukweli, watasema tu ni ukweli. Hata kama nitajiteteaje, itabaki maskari wamesema ukweli. Watakuja na madrugs, waseme hizi ni za huyu. Unaona? Na mimi nikijaribu kujidefend, watakataa. Wako na right. Kuna wakikuja na makarati zao tunajua hawa ni makarao na wanasema ukweli, but ukweli mimi ndo najua. Sisi kama refugee tunateseka sana. Documents, at least hata UN ingefikiria sana wachukue wasichana wadogo. Ndio unapata wasichana wadogo marefugee, unaweza pata mtu ame give up na life yake, ama atakuwa junkie, atatumia drugs, ama atakuwa prostitute. Hivyo ndo wanaishi. A lot of refugee girls wanaumia. Na UN nioni hiyo ndo shida yao.
Okay, kwangu naona nitarudi kwa point ya Bonea hiyo ya kuregister SIM card. Like sometimes unataka kufudiza pia wewe juu. Si every time tuko na do. Sometimes unataka kufudiza, maybe kumeharibika, maybe hujajipa nyumba. So unataka kufudiza but juu hawakutrust juu si Mkenya, juu wanaona unaweza hepa na pesa yao. Like kuna hiyo limit tuko nayo kama hatuna ID. So kuna time nyingine nilikuwa nimeenda hosi, like nimeoneshana hiyo pepa yangu juu niko na hiyo yenye iko na watu wengi, like familia mzima. So nikaonesha na waliangalia wakasema na wewe ndo nani? Nikawaambia mimi huyo watatu. Wakaanza kusoma wakaona mimi si Muethiopia. Then wakaanza pia wewe unakuanga, hebu tuone. Wanaanza kunishikashika kwa boobs waone kama ni ukweli hizo ama ni mabombi nimeweka. Naweza kuwa mimi ni kijana. Nikamwambia umeona mimi ni msichana, mbona sasa mnaanza baidio nishikashika wanaangalia. Mimi nikamwambia hata mimi sitoki huko, mimi ni Mburundi, sitoki huko. Wanasema venye unakaa unaweza dipua watu. Hizi baby face, innocent face tunaziogopa. So nilikuwa okay, kwa nini makosa kukuwa na baby face? So mimi naona like si ati sisi wote ni wabaya. Yes, kuna wabaya but sisi wote wabaya. Like wasione mtu anze kuassume ati huyu ni Shabab ama huyu ni kutoka huko, ama unaanza kuitwa majina si zako juu wameona wewe si Mkenya. Like kukuwa na ID, like kuna hiyo heshima inakuanga juu imekuwa hard kwetu. Like mimi sipendi nitoe jina si yangu ama mtu aone mimi ni mbaya na hakuna kitu nimemfanyia. hata sometimes wanakuja wanashika kwa kichwa juu wanajuanga sometimes wanaweka drugs kwa nini kwa nywele kwa wa Ethiopia wengi sana wanakwanga na mingi wamejifunga wanakuja na ufai kumshika juu yeye ni Muislamu dini yake like imruhusi kumguze kama wewe ni mwanaume so kuna hiyo heshima hakunanga heshima kama
Welcome back to the tail end of our discussion. And those were a few experiences from my fellow students of Paza Sauti about identification and integration. And I have a few questions for you, Adil, before closing remarks. Besides just the physical barriers to integration, what identity crisis does a refugee face when they have no papers?
So I think the identity crisis that refugees face are some of like, for instance, somebody cannot be able to be offered like CTD, that is conventional traveling document, if you don't have ID or refugee ID card. That is, for instance, somebody may be so much interested to apply for a scholarship, maybe outside Africa or abroad, but they cannot be able to travel if they don't have an ID or they don't have a waiting card. So it's a little bit hard. The other crisis that I'm seeing with most of my refugees community is work permit. They will not be able to access some of the work permits because work permit, you have to go through a lot of process and also have an ID or refugee ID card for you to have that Class M work permit. Yeah.
I know about the work permit thing. I applied since 2018 and up to date, I have not been able to get any feedback. So the next question is, Kenyans, indeed, host communities have certain myths about the life of a refugee in Nairobi or rather in Kenya. Could you share a few of these myths and explain to us the realities?
This one is one of the best questions. And I feel like we should have a clarity so that Kenyans or the host community should be able to know who is a refugee and what are the sum of the refugees are going through. You see, when they look at the refugee, what they see is money. They don't even know what is a refugee. So some of the myths that I've lived with or I've seen some of my Kenyan friends or Kenyan community talking about is that refugees have money or they are being offered money by the NGOs, to which there's no any NGO that is offering money. For instance, they may tell you that South Sudanese are getting money from the government of South Sudan and also from UNHCR. And then I'll ask them, is government of Kenya giving individual money? No. So if the government of Kenya is not giving individual money, how is it going to give the South Sudanese refugees money? And they are not in their own country. How will it happen? It's very impossible, you know? So there is no any organization that is giving refugees liquid money. What they do is those who are in the camp will be provided with shelter and food. Those who are urban refugees, there's no provision of anything apart from protection. That is what they offer. Some of organizations, yes, they may decide to give food here, but it's not like daily or monthly. No, it's not. It doesn't happen like that. It just this is once after 3 months or once after 2 months. Yeah. So most of the refugees in urban are more into trouble or are suffering more than those one in the camp. Those one who are in the camp are the ones that are receiving free services. But those one who are in the urban setup, they are actually working on their own money. They are working on their own education. So these are the myths that people are having. Refugees, they have money, to which there's no any refugees that has money. Refugees are suffering. Refugees have an access to free services. Nobody's giving refugee free services. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And before you get that one, you have to go through a lot of information, verification, interviews, and all this blah, blah, blah.
If you don't want, you pay.
Yes. And then also another one is refugees have relatives who send them money from abroad. These are the people who just left their own community because of war. They are scattered all over. You don't even know where your brothers and sisters are. As long as you're safe, you just find yourself a place and eat and sleep with your own family if you have a family. If you don't have a family, that is it. Because some of people, when they're living, let's say South Sudan, some went to Ethiopia, others are in Uganda, others are in Kenya. So those who are in Ethiopia or Uganda, they're just as refugees as those who are in Kenya. So where are they getting the money to be able to send to those who are in Kenya? So this is a myth that it's eating everyone. And that's why when a refugee is just passing by, they can be harassed and the police person or the policeman or woman or whichever gender, they'll be like, bring your ID. And if you don't have a document, they'll start harassing you, asking you for kitu kidogo. Because in their brain, in their back of their brain, there's some people or there's some individual that feel that these people are being provided by UNHCR. UNHCR does not give out liquid money. It's in rare conditions or situation that it does, but it does not do that.
Thank you so much, Adi, for sharing that myth. So many Kenyans think that we are this rich. So the second question could be, as host, how can Kenyans become better hosts? How can refugees also do better to integrate?
Okay. I think the best way Kenya can be a better host is that if they offer services that, like for instance, there's some services that are being offered to host communities or Kenyan communities that refugees are not able to enjoy. What I've come to realize is that the Kenyan constitution does not discriminate anyone as a refugee. As long as you are mandated under the Refugee Act or you are registered in that system as a refugee, it does not discriminate you. Because in Kenya, we don't have Kenyan constitution and refugee constitution in the same country. It's just one constitution that is guiding everyone. But under that one, we have refugees laws. So, for instance, recently when they enacted that laws of refugees should work, there's a process, there's conditions that they put. So if you are giving somebody something and you are putting some conditions, it's like you have not given them anything. It's like a zero work. So why will the community give us, or the host community give us something and they put conditions? You see? So this is something that is really, really draining us. So if I was in a position to make laws, then I will give them something and I won't put conditions. Because, for instance, if for you to go to get a work permit, you need to have a letter of offer and also the DRS to write for your recommendation, and then you have to upload it online. So what is the need of me getting the recommendation from DRS if I have a letter of offer from my work? Yeah, so I don't see the need. Another thing is, there's some services like Linda Mama. Linda Mama is for all women, but it's not accessible to refugees. So why will they have Linda Mama for host communities and we don't access it, and we are still in the same country and we are just like doing everything that Kenyans are doing? So it should be like Linda Mama should be all women in Kenya, no matter where you are coming from. So it feels like a bit discrimination there. Like there's a test of discrimination. Why will you want somebody not to have an access?
I think that is not just a bit. That is huge discrimination that need to be dealt with.
Yeah. So if that Linda Mama should come in, it should come for all women in Kenya, no matter where you are coming from, as long as you are in Kenya legal and the Kenyan government knows you, where you are and who you are, then there's no need of saying you are a refugee, you should not access it. Yeah. So for us, for the Kenyan or the host to make it better, it should be like for all women in Kenya. The other services that I'm seeing that Kenyan are offering and discriminating is National Youth Services, yes, NYS. Yeah, and with NYS, what I've come to realize is they go to universities, they pick Kenyans or the host communities, those are in universities. They train them in different vocational training, and they also offer them job. So, for instance, me, I'm a person who have a master's. You can imagine with my master's, I'm just in the house, I'm not doing anything. So, and somebody that we did a degree together, they are in NYS and they are working and they're being trained, all these things. So I just felt like they should open doors to everybody, that they should also take refugees from universities or different universities and also train them on these vocational skills, because everybody is so much eager to learn. Yeah, so I think these services should include, yeah. And then the other part two of this question is, how can refugees also do better to integrate, right? So I think what refugees can do is, most of the refugees, they're so much into themselves, they're isolating themselves. So because I'm a refugee, I cannot do this, I cannot go to this place. In this place of Kenya, it's like a free air. You're supposed to breathe anywhere you are. You should not tell yourself you should not do this because you're a refugee. Try it first, because trying will not kill you and it's free of charge. Try and see the outcome. If, for instance, for example, there's a time I applied for a job. They never refused me because I'm a refugee. It's because of my qualifications. I was doing my degree by then, and they were not they needed somebody to have an experience. And I also know a guy who is a refugee and is working for Safaricom as an engineer. Yeah, he's a web engineer. We studied together in JKU Arts. So he never limit himself. So what I can tell the refugees, don't limit yourself. If you have an ability, use it. You have a skill, use it. If you saw an advertisement, please apply for it. Because also Kenyans will be like, oh, this person is a refugee. Those who have never seen a refugee, so they'll be like, okay, let's just give him a chance or her chance so that they can express themselves. So if you're in a position to express yourself, you may end up getting what you are not expecting to get. Yeah.
As we've come to the end of our discussion, I would like Adil and Banak to leave us with a parting thought.
Okay, thank you so very much. So for me, my parting thought is that I just encourage refugees to continue working hard and also never give up on anything that they want to. Again, there's so many services that they can benefit in the camp and also in the urban setup. So let's use these chances and opportunities well so that when we go back home, we can also at least come with something, not just somebody who have just gone somewhere and come empty-handed. At least you just gather any skills so that at the end of the day, you may be able to help yourself. What I always tell people is that don't wait for help. If you're in a position to help someone, even if you don't have, just the little that you can, don't wait for more for you so that you can help. So if you're seeing a problem in your community, try to come up with a solution with your community. Don't wait for anybody to come and help your community. Another thing is, I would love to appreciate the Kenyan government for hosting us all these years. I know it's been 2 decades now that refugees have been in Kenya, and still they are really, really supporting refugees. As much as we have challenges, if you compare Kenya with other countries, Kenyan government is really doing well. Far better than any other country in East Africa. Because I've been to Uganda, I've also been in Rwanda, and I'm looking forward to go to Malawi soon. So with these countries that I've visited, it's only Kenya that I've seen the government is really, really doing nice. Yeah. So thank you, everyone. And thank you so very much, Paza Sauti, for inviting me. It's really, really nice coming and also get to know the wonderful and amazing podcast you guys are producing. Thank you.
Well, thank you too. On my end, I would just like to say the party thought that I will leave here to the Paza Sauti is that let's keep contemplating on better days because of our new refugee laws that has a lot of opportunities for us as refugees. And also you keep pushing for these stories to be heard so that everyone can get to know. And the more your stories are out there, the more things are easier, or the more things get easier for you to have access to all the vital services that one may need. So persevere. And the other thing is that as you are out there with the new law, do not isolate yourself as a refugee. Just fit in any environment, integrate in any environment, and make sure that you are friendly, you get the language so that you are able to integrate freely without isolating yourself from the mass or from the host community. Thank you so much.
We've come to the end of our discussion, and Adil, kindly give shouts out to our listeners, leave them with something like a song from South Sudan.
Wow, it's really, really nice. So I'll shout out to those refugees in Kakuma, Dadaab, and Nairobi as well. And then I'll leave all of your listeners with a very wonderful song. It's called Action and Energy by John Frock. It's one of the best songs. It's a mixed song that is in English and Arabic, for those who knows Arabic and English. So it's really nice. So that is what I'm going to leave them with.
Thank you. Thank you so much on behalf of Paza Sauti, and look out for more on our radio podcast. Enjoy.
Action energy, energy, energy. Remix energy. You love energy, baby. Come for me, my baby. Show me energy, baby. Young legendary. It's a double lama She look nice, nice, nice. Look it up, Yon double wala zendur kale. Bile lunar. Lelu narana mabinu Yurlana Galagarimana Agaliblana Galagarimana Action energy Show me, I'm gonna follow you Gilbertian with people Action energy Show me, I'm gonna follow you Gilbertian with people
Dance on, yeah. La 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 la. Action and energy. My sweetie, go come closer. Wanna move with you, both to border. Been to your money, don't you bother. Jagala action na energy. Tukone kone ulele. Tumoving paka sulele. Njagala trust kuwa money, njagala trust kuwe house, kuwe Benz, G-Wagon, oh baby, ba energy.
Yurlana, Talagarimana, Agaliblana, Talagarimana, action energy. Show me, I'm gonna follow you. Gilbertian with people. Action energy. Show me, I'm gonna follow you. Gilbertian with people. You love me like me, baby. Come for me, my baby. Show me like me, baby. You love me like me, baby. Come for me, my baby. Show me like me, baby. Lambe badakade, Babel na fisuwe. Shubtu anahibu, smile to anabiridu. Lambe badakade, Babel na fisuwe. Shubtu anahibu, smile to anabiridu.
Action and energy. Show me, oh. I'm gonna follow you. Action and energy. Show me, oh. I'm gonna follow you. Follow you.
From style, like a shot.